everybody. Welcome. Always lovely to be at Trinity again. Always lovely to see so many familiar faces. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Joanne Boshell. I'm a teacher. I regard myself as a motivational speaker, but actually I think I've got the best job in the world. My job is about teaching people how to lead the most fulfilling life that you can possibly have. I regard myself as somebody who has a passion in her life, and something that I've been doing for 15 years now, that if I can show people and make them aware of the tools that we have as human beings, and I've been working with the Trinity pupils for a number of weeks now, going into every one of their classes and showing them what we have. And tonight what I'm going to do, if anything, I'm going to make you aware of what you have. I'm going to make you aware of the computer that you have sitting here on your shoulders, that half the time we don't even know how to use it. Half the information that we get is really about our brain, our minds, our memories. So before I start, I'm going to give you a little bit of background what I've been doing. I've given it all to the pupils. I'm not going to repeat anything that I've done in their lessons. Basically, I'm very passionate about teaching. Since I was about this high, I wanted to be a teacher. And in my very first year of teaching, I noticed something that really sort of struck a chord with me. And I noticed how intelligent so many of my pupils were when I went in to teach English and history. And I saw these kids, they were clever, and I had good conversations with them, and they would learn hard, and they would work hard. And I would just see that they weren't achieving to their full potential. And as a teacher, at the end of the year in their reports, I would write down, as I said to you guys, I would write in their reports, Melissa is a fabulous student. She is clever, she is bright, but she is not achieving to her full potential. And her parents would come to me on parents' evening and say the same. And you know, Joanne, this Melissa's daughter of mine, she's clever, but you know what, I know she can do better. And I was saying, I know too. And Melissa was saying, I know too. And we were all sitting there saying, Melissa needs to reach her full potential. And then when Melissa finally came to me and said, all right, Joanne, well, what do I do? Everyone keeps telling me I have this potential. And I would say, well, I don't know, learn harder. Yeah, work harder. Work on weekends. Work at night. She was like, oh, no, it's fine. I'll stick with my marks. And this is what I started noticing. By the second year of my teaching, I thought, you know what? I don't even know how to teach people how to reach their full potential. I was noticing that even though I could try and motivate them and get them going and get them excited about life, they still had to go home and study. They still had to go home and go over their work and try and retain the information. Then during the exams or during the tests, I could see some of them were sitting there like this going, what was it again? I've forgotten it. And yet they would come into the classrooms and we'd talk about childhood memories. We'd talk about movies that we'd seen many, many years ago. And they were all remembering that. And I started thinking, why are we remembering some things and not others? Why? What is it about us that we're learning something in the car, coming to school, and yet we get to school and 15 minutes later we're writing the test and we can't remember it? So I just went on a mission in my life to figure out, I resigned from teaching, and I just tried to figure out how I was going to help these kids, including myself, reach my full potential. So for 15 years, I'm not going to give you all the history, but I've been studying, I've been reading, I've been training, I've been doing courses, I do seminars, I do corporate seminars, and I find that the more I learn, the scarier it is, because the more I realize how much more there is to learn. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to first show you all the tools that you have. I'm going to show you what every single one of you have got sitting on is it on your neck or on your shoulders? I couldn't really work it out. But anyway, this part. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what you have, what we're not using, what we are using, and then I'm going to start building it into our lives. So we're going to start by figuring out our brain. Now, as you can see, in fact, just before I show you this, I just want to prove something to you. There is a picture of a human brain. This was the nicest one I could find. And in this picture, this just proves, this is a human brain. This just proves that we have a left side of the brain and we have a right side of the brain. Now, you can all see quite clearly that it's divided into two. The left side of the brain does specific things. The right side of the brain does specific things. The left side of the brain is our logical, analytical side. That is the side of the brain that breaks down things into small pieces. It makes it easier for you to learn. It likes structure. It likes organization. People who tend to use their left brain a lot are very scientific, mathematical. They like to-do lists. Okay? They like things that are tidy, neat, organized. Right brain is our creative side. That is the home of our imagination. That is the home of our creative juices. That's the arty-farty side. That's the part that's going to make fashion designers, make musicians, make artists. So I didn't even know that our brain was divided into two hemispheres. Yes, if you look at it, we can see. But I had no idea that they do two separate things. Let me give you an example how the brain works. Let's take the shopping experience. Men tend to shop with their left brain. Women tend to shop with their right brain. Now, I'm generalizing. This is not a sexist seminar. Please don't fight me on this because it's not the point. But I want to just give you an example how we as human beings could understand better which side people are using. It might prevent quite a lot of conflict. Men, the left brain is the logical, analytical, simple, no offense, breaking down, organized part of the brain. So they want to go shopping. They need a shirt. Okay? They go out, decide what they want, perhaps do a little bit of research, buy the product. Shopping experience over. Women use their right side of their brain. Now, the right side of the brain is the home of the imagination and creativity. Shopping becomes a different experience. When women go shopping, they imagine the product first. They imagine what it's going to feel like. They imagine what it's like to have one. They get opinions. They get the atmosphere of the store. They need to look in every other shop first in case there's something better. And shopping becomes more of an experience. Now, the reason I'm showing you these kind of things, because when I teach you how to study, if you can understand that your right brain works like this, it needs experience, it needs color, it needs texture, it needs emotion, it needs creativity, it needs creative juices flowing all the time, you will soon understand why people are more left brain dominant or more right brain dominant. Some of you might have seen this on email. One mission. The mission is to go to Edgar's to buy a pair of pants. Okay? The male, as you can see, is in blue. That's what they need. They know where they want to go. They go directly to Edgar's, buy what they want. As you can see at the bottom left, it takes 6 minutes. The cost is 240 Rand. The female, same mission, does the entire shopping mall. Time spent 3 hours, 26 minutes, cost 3,650 Rand. And that wasn't just for a pair of pants. So I'm just trying to explain to you in a simple way about our left and right brain. Now, as I said to you, we as human beings could become a lot more tolerant if we know where somebody's coming from. So if you understand what the left brain does and what the right brain does, that particular side will come into action when it's appropriate and could possibly avoid a lot of conflict, a lot of intolerance. What does this mean? Do you know that it is a scientific fact, and I keep studying it every year to try and see if the statistics change, that human beings are using 1 to 10%, I just say 5%, of their human brain, which means 95% of this matter that's sitting here is not being used. We're carrying this around, and human beings are using 5% of their brain power. What is my point? My point is that there is so much intelligence available to us. And every one of you will walk out of here tonight being aware of what you have. I'm not going to show you major magic tricks tonight and this is what you need to do. You're not going to walk away thinking, oh, now I've got so much work to do. And now Joanne said, I've got all this potential and now I've got to do this. No, you're going to walk away going, wow, I have this computer. And you're going to know how to use it by knowing which side to use and when to use both. Left brain. It notices the finer details. More scientific, more mathematical. It focuses on your language. Those people who are very good at language, spoken and written, grammar, you could be more left brain dominant. Your right brain, as I said, is more ideas, experience, insight, music. And if you have a look here, just to quickly compare the two, the left brain being analytical, the right brain being creative. The left brain works with logic, the right brain works with emotions. Shopping. The left brain works with words, the right brain with pictures. Left brain with parts, the right brain with connecting the parts. And that's where I'm going to show you when you study, how to get whole brain learning. As you can see, that's the heading. The left brain works with analysis, the right brain with synthesis, bringing together. The left brain is sequential thinking, the right is holistic thinking, more whole thinking, not breaking it down into parts. The left side helps you to organize and communicate with others. The right brain controls your interpretation of color, images, depth, perception, and your imagination. And the reason why I'm explaining that is because many right brain people find it easier to study using their imagination, easier to remember, because I'm going to explain to you about the memory, how we need imagination. This opens the door to massive opportunities. This idea of using our whole brain is going to open the door to unlimited human potential. Are you more logical or creative? Let me explain to you. Okay, if you're more left brain dominant, just try and see maybe if some of these characteristics apply to you. Left brain dominant people, in other words, you tend to use your left brain more. It's stronger than the other side. You're very good with symbols and numbers. You often have a to-do list or you keep diaries. You make schedules. You have little trouble putting thoughts into words. You always wear a watch. You constantly look at it. Keep journals. You read the directions before assembling something. When making a tough decision, you write down the pros and the cons. You would make a good detective, much to your husband's dismay. You look at the facts before forming an opinion. Many left-brain people are lawyers, journalists, doctors. If you're more right-brain orientated, you back up everything visually. They're the people that like to act out the stories. You know when they're telling you a story and they say, wait, I've got to get up, and they relive it. Okay, now we know the right brain people. Okay, they're very creative. They see the big picture first before organizing it into pieces. They need to know why something is done. They find it hard to follow directions precisely. Shopping, right-hand brain men, frequently changes plans. They find it hard to stick to a schedule that is boring. They find it easier to draw a map than tell someone how to get somewhere. They frequently let their emotions guide them. It says here often late, but I've changed it to not particularly punctual. All the right brain ones are sitting there at the back by the door. They learn music with ease. They believe that there are mostly two ways of looking at all things. Often we find the right brain people are poets, politicians, architects, dancers, and they often lose track of time. So now we need to think, maybe are we more logical or creative? I'm not going to get into it. When I do my courses with kids, I do a very extensive test on them to see if they're left brain or right brain. And the scale it starts from the middle, and if you're very, very left brain, like I was, when I did the test, I was right on the left brain side. And I needed to get closer to the middle because I wasn't using my right brain. I've always said, I'm not very creative. I mean, I can't draw, I can't cook, I'm not creative. And then the guy who I was doing my training with about the brain, he says to me, but Joanne, you've got a right side of the brain or you wouldn't be standing here. I was like, yeah, but obviously I'm just left brain dominant, and that's not okay, which means I'm only using half my brain, and of that half, I'm only using a few percent anyway. So what I had to do is get my score back nearer the middle so that I could use my right brain more. I started having to look for ways to get my creative juices flowing. And if it wasn't in cooking, it would be setting the table beautifully and finding my creative ways there. So you might be thinking, well, I'm a bit of both. That's good. That's good. Then we're going to tap into both sides. I'm going to do a couple of tests just to prove to you that you have left and right brain. Now, the left brain people will see what's on the slides here and naturally just read the words. Straight away. Yellow, blue, orange, black, red, green, purple, yellow, red. Guess what I am. The right brain people will tend to see the color first. Now, I tested this on one of my friends who's very right brain. And she would say, green, red, blue, yellow, blue. I'm battling with this. And amazing how the left and right brain are starting to get into sync. Now, we can do all sorts of tests. I mean, just to give you a few ideas. When you look at this one, there are no dots. Look carefully. There are no dots. Try and focus your eyes on one of the dots and watch it go. Try and go back to where your eyes were on the dots. These circles are not going spirally in. They're not. If I had to follow, watch. Okay, watch this arrow. Can you all see it? I'm going to start here, and I'm going to follow it round. It is one normal concentric circle. Watch. And I'm back. Not one of those circles is spiraling in. It's your right brain playing tricks on you. What do you see? Do you see a vase? Do you see two faces looking at each other? Now I see down here some of the kids going, look, man, look, it's two faces. I saw down here going, can't you see the vase? And they go, oh, there it is. Suddenly the right brain moves in. The left brain goes, oh, can't you see it? Okay? Look at this picture. How many faces do you see in this picture? And just by the way, I've made a copy for all of you, and we're putting it at the back. I've got little information sheets for you at the back when you go out. It's in a blue brochure. And I've put this picture in for you. How many faces do you see? 1, 2. There are 9. There are 9 faces. Look up here. Okay, I want to point here, but you can't see. Look at the very top left-hand corner, where that bird is. There are 3 faces looking in to that, like, thing that the bird's on. I'm going to leave you with that. You can play with your brain when you get home. There are 9 faces. What do you see? Can you all see an Eskimo? Can you all see a face? What do you see? Some of you have seen this because I saw it in one of your classrooms. There are 2 faces, a young face and an old face. Can you see both of them? What do you see? There is a man playing a horn, and there is a woman's face in the white part. Oh, we do have 2 sides of the brain. Okay, what happens when the right side of the brain crashes? The right side of the brain is the creative, not the mathematical one. So this is a sort of a bit of a way of showing you that we're not supposed to confuse each side of our brain. We are not supposed to do left brain things like she's doing her maths on an artistic material. I did with all the kids in the classes. I made them, I don't know if you showed any of your parents, guys, but I made them take their right foot. If you want to try it, try it. Take your right foot and turn it clockwise. While you're turning your foot clockwise, take your left hand and draw a number 6 in the air. What happens? Your foot changes direction. A apparently all my creative juices have seeped into the left side of my brain. So this little guy here is obviously using his right brain, and the juices are seeping into his left brain. Not true, but I think you're getting my point. Now, what I'm going to teach you guys tonight is a bit of brain gym. Because in the States, what they've started now, as only in the States, they've actually started gyms. Because, let me give you a fact, first of all, a little fact about our memory. Do you know, and I want anybody to come and what's the word, find evidence that I'm wrong. Do you know that as you get older, your memory does not fade? It is a myth that as we get older, we lose our memories. It's not true. When you're young and when you're your age or when you're in your 20s and you forget things, which we do, you don't harp on it. You don't focus on it. You don't think, oh, I'm getting old. I'm 23 now and I can't remember anything. You just go, oh, well, sorry, Mom, I forgot. But as we get older, we start saying, oh, it must be my age. Oh, Alzheimer's, it's coming. I'm getting old. And we start doing this. Do you know that it's not true? My gran is 87 years old. She has her brain so exercised. She remembers more than we all do. Why? Why is her memory strong? Because she exercises it. Why is her brain strong? Because she exercises it. Now, what we need to do is start exercising our brain. And I don't mean like this. I mean like, first of all, when I teach you how to study, that's going to be using your brain. That's going to be exercising it. I want you to start focusing on which is your weaker side of your brain, like mine was my right side, and making a conscious effort to develop that side. I play mastermind with my kids all the time. I love it. It's so left-brained. It's sequenced and organized and structured, and I just love that game. My son is very right-brained. Is, oh, Mom, let's just play the colors. Okay, so there's a lot of ways. I mean, from when you're very little, we start exercising our brains and our memories. And you often find that that's why they encourage education at an early age. They encourage board games. They're encouraging memory games. Remember those games where you had to put all the cards down and try and remember which one? And okay, that's training your memory. It's those people that go numb with not doing crossword puzzles or memory games or I mean, you even get Nintendo games now. I found this one on the internet. It's a fabulous game. It's a Nintendo game. It's called Left Brain, Right Brain. We are two people thinking distinctively in one body. Let's be aware of that when I teach you how to study a bit later. Okay, now this guy here is trying to find the dominant side of his brain. Because our brain processes information in different ways depending on the dominant side. So if you're very left-brained and you get a very left-brained question in your exam, that's your dominant side. You're going to crack that part. But the whole idea is not being dominant on one side. The whole idea of it is using both sides. They're not in competition with each other. They work together, but not together. In other words, not at the same time. Because you can't turn your foot and your hand and all in different directions. They don't work. You ready to use your whole brain? You want me to show you how you can use your whole brain and get that full 100% human potential? I'm sick of hearing we're using 5% of our brain. There is so much intelligence here for us, guys. We've got to grab it. We've got the tools. We were born with everything we need to succeed. Let's get going. Right. First of all, you've got to be willing to change the way you think. If you think you know everything, you can never grow mentally. Teenagers, I know that's hard, but you don't know everything. Okay? I thought I knew more when I was younger, and now I actually realize how little I know. But just if you want to learn tonight, get your mind open. You want to change the way you think, we're going to grow. Okay, usual way of studying. Okay, we like to take notes. Some people don't bother. Some people just read it over. Okay, the usual way of studying, you can see you're only using your left brain if you're just writing notes. Often contains totally irrelevant words. I mean, some of you in the assessments that I did with you in class, I asked you to underline the important keywords. You're underlining everything. Totally irrelevant, non-essential words. That's why I did that, because I realized the parts I needed to focus on. And the comprehensive skills in Trinity, I have to say, were very good on the test that I did, but the keyword extraction was weak. And when I spoke to some of the girls about it, and I mean, they said, can I highlight some of the words? I said, yeah, sure. Highlighted everything. Everything just went pink. And what that actually means, and it's a genuine fear. It's a genuine fear of, Joanne, what if I leave something out? What if they ask me something I leave out? And if I don't do this, what is the point in highlighting everything? It just changes black words to pink words. It's not actually bringing it down to a summary. Okay, it's usually dull and boring, and it doesn't allow important parts to stand out. It also doesn't connect your left and right brain, because your left brain breaks things into parts, your right brain puts ideas and everything together. You're not using any of this. I'm going to give you an example. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take, as you can see, from your right brain, all your thoughts, ideas, fleet of imaginative, sorry, I get carried away when I do right brain. Okay, imaginative ideas and everything that you have. And I'm going to take them from your right brain and I'm going to turn it into a structured visual map or diagram. Now everyone says, the way to study is mind maps. Oh, yes, they work for some, they work for others. Some of you are going to have to challenge your beliefs with me tonight about mind maps. I'm not a mind map pro, I'm a left and right brain pro, which means one of the techniques that I teach, I believe if there's a variety of study methods, we're going to use them all. The one way that uses your left brain and your right brain is the mind map. I call it a spray diagram. I like to just spray ideas out. So let's take all the thoughts from your right brain and let's put them into something structured in the left brain. So for example, let's take a mind map. Let's call it a spray diagram. You have your main ideas, you spray it out. Okay, then you might get more ideas off the one, more ideas off the other, and on blank paper, you put down everything from your notes. Once you've done that, you'll see that your right brain will help you to plan it all on blank paper, and your left brain will put all the plans into place. And that's quite exciting to know that you're now doing whole brain learning. So if you have a look here, a mind mapping, just to give you a quick idea, because I want to get through this quite quickly so I can physically show you what to do when you get home. Mind mapping is lovely. You can draw the ideas explode, your creativity is at its best. You know the research that I've done, I asked some, they were about 6 years old, they were just past nursery school, to draw a picture of their family for me on this beautiful, huge, big blank paper. And I gave them pastels and crayons and paints and cookies. And I said, now, oh, the excitement, they had this whole piece of paper for me. Yes, it's all for you. They drew me these lovely pictures. I then went to the other part of the nursery school and I said to them, here's some lined paper and a grey lead pencil. I want you to draw me a picture of your family. Oh, can't we have all those colors and the blank paper and everything? I said, no, draw me a nice picture. The lines restricted them. And when you do a mind map, if you're going to do it on lined paper, the lines are going to, it's a left brain thing. Lined paper is for left brains because they like order and neatness and things straight. Right brain, you've got to explode your ideas. So when you explode your ideas, your creativity is at its best. You can think fast. You break boundaries. You write your ideas down and you keep moving. So the bigger the paper, the better. Once you've done that, you actually have a mind map where you've got explosion of ideas, creativity, and you've got structure. Now this was something I just did with my kids last week. They were doing the uses of plants. I don't even believe writing things down when you do a mind map. That's enough structure. Get your main idea, get your lines in. That's the structure. The creativity is draw your pictures. Draw them in. Don't bother, draw just quick stick figures. Draw whatever it is you have to do. But do it quickly using your right brain and your left brain. And then once you've done that, you'll see the left brain will break all the information into smaller parts, put it into order for you so that you can learn new things one at a time. The right brain will help you to think of good ideas for your essays, art, creative writing, projects. Remember, when you've done a mind map, while you're doing it, talk out loud. Talk out loud. When I explain to you how your memory works, by talking, who studies silently? Who studies silently? Put your hands up. Okay, that's a lot of you who are wasting a complete skill, auditory. Auditory is coming from the ear. You hear it. By hearing something, it puts it into your long-term memory. The more out loud that you talk, it's like somebody else teaching it back to you. Once you hear it, it goes straight in. Once you have finished your mind map, hold it up and explain it out loud to yourself. Become this crazy teacher in your classroom, in your bedroom. That's now your classroom, and you're teaching it and you're talking it through. When I'm at home, I hear my daughter. She's rambling on in her bedroom. Our little dog is lying on her bed listening. We have the most educated dog you have ever come across. He listens to everything, and she's teaching and she's talking. Now, my son thought, I've got twins, they think this is completely ridiculous. I mean, you can't talk to yourself in your room, until they compared marks on their test. So he says, well, if that's going to take, he now sits outside her door and just